Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. The Securities Times reported that Apple, which is popular in the stock market, had a bad start at the beginning of the new year, with its market value evaporating by $760 billion overnight. The reason is related to the fact that its performance last year was far from expected. Currently, many banks have downgraded its rating to underweight. Wall Street analysts said that with the rebirth of Huawei, Apple's market value is expected to continue to decline, shrinking by at least 17%, and said that Cook should pay the price for leaving the Chinese market. As soon as the news came out, it caused a lot of controversy. The US media, which has always been full of confidence in Apple, rarely asks itself, can Apple make a comeback after losing it to China? According to reports, Apple's stock price has repeatedly hit new lows in the beginning of the year. It closed down about 3.6% at the end of its first opening day, the largest drop in a single quarter. Industry insiders pointed out that the iPhone 15 was highly hyped last year, but it still has not reversed the negative revenue growth and has no expectations for it. Apple staff revealed that the sharp drop in profits was related to Cook's insistence on withdrawing from the mainland fruit chain, and that the group's profits will continue to decline until demand in the Chinese market recovers. As we all know, in recent years, affected by the international situation, China's communications industry has encountered so-called just sanctions. National enterprises represented by Huawei have fallen into the dilemma of having no cores available, and were forced to withdraw from the high-end mobile phone track, ushering in 3 years of cold winter. But Apple, which was not affected by the turmoil, took the opportunity to pick up the slack and make a lot of money. Data shows that at that time, iPhone 13 and 14 were launched one after another, and the related models were criticized as useless by Steve Jobs' daughter, but they were able to collect 230 billion yuan in mainland China. According to statistics, when iPhone 14 was launched, Apple's domestic market share soared from 8% to 20%. Mainland stores were repeatedly sold out, with an average of 440,000 units sold every day. In the same year, Apple returned to the top spot in the global mobile phone market. However, despite eating Chinese rice, Apple's CEO is always busy shorting the mainland supply chain. In just a few years, 14 fruit chain suppliers were encouraged and coerced to move to India to invest and build factories, and hundreds of domestic OEM companies suffered cuts. Data shows that when the iPhone 15 was launched, the proportion of parts provided by China for some models dropped sharply from 97% to 2%, which is enough to show that Cook has decided to leave. 2. From made in China to intelligent manufacturing, Chinese industries are transforming. Unsurprisingly, leaving China was obviously not an easy life. The Wall Street Journal reported that India, regarded by Cook as the next world factory, has handed over an astonishing response sheet with a scrap rate as high as 66%. According to data, after Apple withdrew, domestic manufacturers, such as Huawei and Xiaomi, emerged strongly to fill the gap, and handed over orders to OEMs, such as BYD, for processing. The yield rate was also as high as 90%, attracting global attention. Industry insiders say that an iterative wave of technology OEM manufacturing is emerging in China. Even in fields such as satellite navigation and biotechnology, which have led the West for many years, domestic manufacturing is slowly emerging. The emigration, led by Cook, is destined to regret. According to reports, the Harvard laboratory previously announced an experiment that rewrote age perception, under the intervention of prebiotics, technological molecules. The hair and energy of aging mice showed a younger trend, and their lifespan was extended after testing and comparison. 30%. Since then, NASA has included it in the list of essential dietary supplements for astronauts to improve physical fitness and ensure energy. The price of a few circulating molecular-like raw materials is as high as 20,000 a gram, and some countries cannot even afford the research and development costs. Just when the scientific research community regarded relevant results as the pinnacle that is difficult to break through, China's Yixinghao 21000 made a shocking debut. It is reported that after 10 years, domestic R&D personnel have made breakthroughs in directed enzyme catalysis technology, significantly increasing production capacity, and the price is only 2% of the first generation. Experiments have proven that domestically produced molecules can also enhance youthfulness. With the help of platforms such as JD.com, the above-mentioned technological products can penetrate the global market. In the comment area of Yixinghao 21000, there is no lack of feedback such as physical fitness has been improved, and the complexion is better. Industry insiders say that the confidence brought by the rise of high-end manufacturing has allowed China to remain firmly on the throne as the world's factory. Big brands such as Apple, Sony, and Samsung that have moved out of China all feel that China is irreplaceable. 3. The iPhone will eventually burn itself by playing with fire. Data shows that when new Apple phones were released last quarter, the Indian factory responsible for the assembly had obvious problems, such as battery heating and crackling sound. The return rate was as high as 23%, which made many investment banks who believe in Apple's strength have doubts. Today, Huawei has made a strong comeback, with a total activation volume of new phones reaching 28.71 million units, maintaining its leading position. On the other hand, Cook, who is not enterprising, has kicked 34 mainland suppliers out of the supply chain, and still insists that he doesn't need the mainland market. Although many US media criticized this, saying that Apple falls, Huawei is full, and Huawei is ruining Apple's future, but in the face of the plummeting stock price, they had to admit that Cook underestimated his opponent. Under the strong breakthrough and impact of domestic brands, if the arrogant Apple does not put away its greed, it will eventually burn itself.